What's up guys, it's James here, and in today's video I'm going to talk to you about Airbnb, Booking.com, Homeaway, Vrbo, and I'm going to break down for you what the difference is between each one of these platforms. I'm also going to touch on in this video when you should list your property on Airbnb versus the other platforms, when it makes the most sense, and hopefully you're going to get a ton of value and you're going to have a really clear action plan for your property or properties coming out of this video. Now, before I dive into it, I just want to remind you, if you're new to the channel here and you haven't yet subscribed, then hit that subscribe button. The data is telling me that a lot of you guys that watch this channel are not yet subscribed, and we post 2 new videos every single week that I really aim to have help you guys to really get the most value possible out of this channel. So if you're new here, just click that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Check it out, click the subscribe button, click it now, and also just click that like button. Hit the like button so that you can just help me out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. I would really appreciate that as well. And if you're checking this video out on YouTube itself, then just leave me a comment. If you have any other video ideas, if you have things that you want me to talk about, if you have questions about the video, leave a comment down below as well. So, all that out of the way, let's dive into the video. Let's talk about the difference between Airbnb, Booking.com, Vrbo, and Homeaway. So, to start out with, the main difference between each platform is primarily going to be the type of guest that's booking on those platforms, and as a result of that, the different types of properties that are going to perform really well. Obviously, with a different type of guest on a given platform, the type of property that's going to perform the best is going to vary from platform to platform. So let's start with Homeaway and Vrbo. Most people aren't aware, but Homeaway and Vrbo are owned by the same company. They're essentially the same platform. There's very little difference between Homeaway and Vrbo. And so let's talk about those ones first. Vrbo, for anyone that doesn't know, stands for Vacation Rental by Owner. And so as the name would indicate, and as the name Homeaway, like a home away from home, would indicate, it's primarily for vacation rentals. That's really where they were born. And so if you think back to, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, before Airbnb was a really popular platform, then you're going to think back to a time when you wanted to book a vacation rental. If you ever had experience doing that, you typically would go through a vacation rental manager. You'd actually just go on an individual website, depending on where you wanted to visit. And one of the first websites to kind of amalgamate all that stuff, bring it all into one place, was Vrbo, Homeaway. That's the segment of the market they were really trying to corner in on. And so Vrbo and Homeaway did an okay job of that, and as a result, they're running some pretty good businesses right now. And they have some relatively popular booking platforms when it comes to vacation rentals. And so the reality, though, is that the majority of the property owners on there are vacation rental owners, and the majority of the people booking there as guests are people that are searching for vacation rentals and that are used to that as a traditional way of doing so. So if you think about it, you're not going to go and look for a vacation rental in downtown Toronto or New York City. The markets where you're going to go and look for a vacation rental are more like San Diego or maybe parts of Florida, where you're going to go and vacation, and that's a very long-standing industry in those places. So if you have a property in one of these more urban centers, then Vrbo and Homeaway are probably not going to be that great for you. If you do have a vacation rental, however, if you've got a large home that's suitable for a family, then Homeaway, Vrbo are typically going to perform quite well. Now, the difference in terms of how that platform operates, it's actually very similar to the way Airbnb operates, in that it collects the payments for you, it pays you out a set amount, everything is pretty straightforward and streamlined there. Where things get quite different is with Booking.com. So Booking.com is actually a travel website that is competing with the likes of Hotels.com, Expedia, those different companies like that. And so they're actually all owned by the same parent company as well. So similarly to how Homeaway and Vrbo are owned by the same, you've got Booking.com being owned by Expedia, so all kind of meshed in with Hotels.com, all these other similar platforms that people use to book hotel stays. So the majority of the properties on there historically were hotels. Throughout the popularization of Airbnb, a lot of property owners started listing their properties on Booking.com, which they were perfectly okay with. And so now you're starting to see more properties on Booking.com that are not your standard hotel rooms. However, the ones that perform the best are the ones that are very similar to hotel rooms because, like I mentioned before when we were talking about VRBO and Homeaway, the typical guest that's booking through Booking.com is someone that's coming to look for a hotel or a hotel alternative. So if you're in a place where people would typically book a hotel for their stay, like for example, New York or Toronto, those downtown core metropolitan areas, then good chances are that your property could do quite well on Booking.com. If you're in a more vacation rental area, like for example, parts of Florida or San Diego, where someone's not really going to be looking for a hotel to stay at, they're going to more want a house to stay at with a kitchen, with those types of amenities, then you're probably going to want to shy away from Booking.com. Now, if you have, let's say, a five-bedroom home in the downtown core of Toronto, then again, there are some exceptions. You might have that one do really well on VRBO, whereas a one-bedroom condo in the city would actually do quite well on Booking.com. So you have to look at not only where your property is located, but also the type of property and the type of guests that you're looking to cater to. So one of the really nice things about Booking.com as a platform is that because you are competing with other hotels that are professionally priced, the pricing tends to be quite a bit higher. And so as a result of that, you can charge higher rates for your listing. Now, that's kind of the end of where the advantages go with Booking.com. As far as ease of use, it's got a lot of room to go to work up to get to the same place as Airbnb or VRBO, Homeaway, booking, things like that. Booking.com is exceptionally hard to use as a property owner for a number of different reasons. Number one is that they don't collect the payments for you. You have to go and grab the credit card details that Booking.com provides you from the property owner and actually process that payment on your own. That at face value might not seem that difficult. Some of you won't even know how to begin to do that. It actually isn't that complicated to learn how to charge a credit card. But where the issues come in is when you have things like fraud, refunds, chargebacks, all these different things that happen that then you have to deal with, as opposed to it being left in the lap of Airbnb or VRBO, Homeaway. So it just adds a whole level of administrative stress to your life that isn't that great. And the other thing that is just challenging and something you have to kind of keep an eye on from a cash flow perspective is that Booking.com charges a booking fee similar to how these other platforms do, but because they're not collecting the payment, they're not pulling it out before they give you your money. You're getting the money all on charging the person's credit card, and then you actually have to pay a bill to Booking.com every couple weeks or every month. So now, although this doesn't end up being any different from the other booking platforms, a lot of people think that Booking.com is more expensive because they just don't realize that they're actually paying Airbnb. They just don't see the money leaving. So that's another challenge with it, is it from a cash flow perspective, you have to make sure you're setting aside that 15% to pay to Booking.com. And that leaves us with Airbnb, the one that everybody knows and everyone's already familiar with. And so I would say it's the best of everything. It's the best of both worlds. You have a pretty good mix on Airbnb of people that are looking for hotel alternatives, people that are looking for a vacation home. Airbnb has really branded themselves as living like a local, which doesn't really lend itself to either one of the two markets. It's more just about the experience that you have when you book an Airbnb, and it's one that universally everyone kind of wants. Everyone wants to go and live somewhere like a local. And with Airbnb Plus, you have a really good market of properties that compete with hotels and give you that same level of consistency. And with the amount of variety that's on the platform and just the sheer volume of listings, it obviously just attracts a really large pool of different guests who are booking for different reasons. So that's why I always recommend that if you're just starting out, you always want to list first and foremost on Airbnb, because that's where every property tends to do the best. You will have some exceptions to that, but it's very rare that you'll get a property that just can't perform well on Airbnb. If it can't perform well on Airbnb, then chances are it can't perform that well anywhere. So Airbnb is definitely, in my opinion, the best platform to be on, simply because they have the most guests, the most listings, and the most variety of everything, so that you're going to get pretty much any property performing quite well on them. and it's also the easiest to use. They've really done a great job of simplifying the back end so that you can use it exceptionally easily as a host. Booking.com is the most complex, but it does offer the great rates that you can get for the right type of property. And VRBO, VRBO and Homeaway rather, are in my opinion the closest competitors to Airbnb. They're the most similar. You're just typically not going to get the volume of bookings, though you sometimes can get a bit of a premium on those platforms. So again, I hope this video has been really helpful for you in helping you to determine which platforms you may or may not want to list on and what the pros and cons of each of them are. If you did like this video, if you got any value from it at all, please just hit that like button, give this video a thumbs up. And if you want more videos about all things Airbnb and Airbnb management, just click the subscribe button there. I post 2 new videos every single week, so hit that subscribe button to be notified whenever they come out and to stay up to date with the channel. Until next time, I will see you soon.